Happy Monday, good evening. Welcome to Soccerchat Matchpack. Emmanuel Zite Tembo is the name. So the first installment of the MTN Fast Super League was before us this past weekend, and it went through in very sweet fashion. For Nkana, victory. For Zesco United, victory. For teams like Green Buffaloes and Lumwana Radiants, defeat. Welcome to the 2019-2020 season and a return to Zambia's Premier Analysis Show. Helping me with tonight's presentation is Vespa Janza and Stafford Kayame. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Which one was the pick of the weekend ties for you?
Yeah, Zite, thank you so much, and thanks for meeting again after a very long time. And it's good to see you. Good to meet again. Of course, it was a good weekend, especially for teams like Zesco United, who had a win over the weekend. And the Red Arrows also, I think they had a good start. Talking about a few teams, of course, we had the other teams who collected the maximum results, which was good. I think we looking at the way the season is starting, I think there is more to come.
Which one tickled your fancy the most?
I was impressed with Nkwazi.
Oh,
yeah.
The policeman.
The policeman.
1-0. Forest Rangers, of course. Perry, he's got very strong links to Nkwazi. His father was a police officer. He also played there. So, yeah, no, the robbery did go according to plan. But anyway, let's have a look at the results that were recorded this past week in the MTN Fast Super League. Of course, the Transitional League was gone, which was won by Zesco United. So, Nkana winning 2-0 against Buffaloes. We had Lusaka Dynamos beating Radiance by 0-0 thanks to a Chris Kope Mugalu goal. And it was Enoch Sabumukama who was the difference when Zanaco locked horns with Zesco United at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium. Kaisa were beaten 2-1 by Buildcon. Mitre Freer Wanderers beaten 2-0 by Napsa Stars, so it wasn't really a gravy train for them. And further on, just looking at the other results that were recorded in the MTN Fast Super League, it was a good day at the office for Red Arrows as they triumphed over Nakambala by 0-0. And it was Stevens as Green Eagles locked horns with Cabo Warriors. That's in Choma. It ended 1-1. Kansanshi Dynamos managed to beat Power Dynamos by a solitary 0-0. And of course, without spectators, so it was definitely something that was heartwarming to the carcass of those of the Kansanshi Dynamos persuasion. Then we also had Nkwazi winning by 0-0 thanks to an Enoch, Eric Chomba strike, rather. Talk about Enoch, Eric. But anyway, they were all scorers. And talking about Enoch Sabumukama, he was the man that proved to be the difference between the two teams when Zesco United hosted Zanaco in a week 1 fixture at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium. Let's begin to look at the tactical intricacies, shall we? Starting off with the selections made by George Luandamina and Numba Mamba. Starting lineup, shall we? So for Zesco United in the orange, they went with a 4-2-3-1. Of course, there was a starting berth for shirt number 20, Kamusoko, who started on the left-hand side of the double anchorman system. And Amaru Kasumba led the line, the Kenyan striker, of course, leading the line there. And there was a place for John Chingandu on the right-hand side of attack, and Jesse Were was deployed in the normal wide left position. And pretty much settled back for George Chicken Luandamina of Mwilapiri, Marcel Kalonda, Clement Mwape, and Simon Silimba. For Zanaco in the white on the screen, they chose the back four of Chungu, Zio Tembo, Tiberius Lombard, and Jimmy Nakena. Then the rest of their 4-1-3-2 formation. So Kelvin Kapumbu playing as the anchorman, and the attacking three was Charles Zulu, Tafazo Rusike playing in the hole, and Jili Manziba in the absence of Ernest Mbewe, who was not too well. Leading the line for Zanaka was Musa Suleiman and Roger Kola. Looked like what both teams wanted to do. Zesco, yes, 4-2-3-1. I think for George Dwandamina, we know by now, he always build his teams around solidity, especially in the central areas. And Kamusoko straight in partnering Anthony Akumo, Vespa.
Yeah, Zite, I think if you look at Zesco United, the organization, especially when it comes to their system, I think they've moved on with the same system, which I think is very much comfortable. If you look at Rwandamina, most of the time he uses that system, which is helping him. I think it's also trying to make sure he keeps the goal. He doesn't want to allow an early goal. I think that is why he most of his times he uses the same system, and I think it's helping him.
Yeah, he won the league like that, the transitional league. It wasn't easy, but it was always going to be like that. But Stafford, let's talk about the Zanaco selection for Tafadzwa Rusike, and at the back end of last season, and he starts here. I think it's a big vote of confidence. I'm sure there was a lot of talking in the background that needed to be done to make sure that he clears his head, that he'll be wholeheartedly at Sunset Stadium. He's definitely going to be an important player in this game.
Yeah, like from the Charity Shield and up to this game, you can tell that he's still the Rusike we knew from last season, and he's proved himself. He had a very good game.
Okay. Let's talk about Zanaco in attack, shall we? So, Zanaco, their west side, of course, were not bad in terms of their attack construction. But let's just look at what they were trying to do. So, what Zanaco would actually do, they would actually try to play out more often from the back, but you'd have a situation where Kasumba, the number 19 for Zesco United, would have to press Zio Tembo and number 32, Tiberius Lombard. Then it left a marking situation that behind them, Zesco United would try to press them a little bit high by Enoch Sabumukama picking up the shirt number 15, Kapumbu, Were picking up Jimmy Nakena so that they don't have a wide outlet on the right, and John Chingandu would close the line of pass from Zio Tembo into Lawrence Chungu. But what that actually created, and perhaps this was the element of surprise in this game, is that man, number 30 on the screen, who would actually not play like a double 9. He would actually come into midfield and play like a 10. And because of that, it therefore meant that with Tafadzwa Rusike being man-marked by Anthony Akumo, that's shirt number 21 and 8 on the screen, you have Kelvin Kapumbu and Enoch Sabumukama in a duo there, and you have Musa Suleiman actually running a very antagonistic run, Stafford, where he's running from the right half space into the left half space, and now it's asking a question of Kamusoko to actually track him, or Mwape to actually come and check him. But you know how it is in a split second and when it's moving. And because of that, we saw Suleiman a lot of times getting on the ball together with Tafadzwa Rusike in their attack. Well, this was pretty smart by Numba.
With their formation, I expected them to be more active in the wings, but they actually stood their ground in the midfield. Rusike and Suleimani actually showed up a very good performance in the midfield.
No, and I'm just talking about the same situation in terms of Zanaco's attack. You've got Charles Zulu and Jili Manziva, both right-footed players. But again, it just shows that maybe Zanaco may want a left-footed player, the one who can expand the pitch on the left-hand side. It's because Charles Zulu is going to run inside, and because of the running and the tactical movement in the middle being done by Suleiman, they are now going to be meeting with the number 10. And perhaps that's not what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, Zite, I think of late, if you look at Zanaco, the way they play, they always want to get balls from the wings. But playing a team like Zesco United, I'm sure it's not easy for them to attack from the wings. You could see them coming, of course, from the midfield. They want to attack using maybe Tafadzwa, who is a bit quick, of course, in double passes. But it helped. Of course, Kola could have scored. You saw the chances they had. But, of course, sometimes it's not your day. they couldn't get the goals, which I think they thought they could get them
And-
even in the first half.
And apparently, one striking thing about that game was that Kola and Suleiman were hardly in the 18. That's the other thing. So if you talk about putting the cross in, it was probably going to come from Chungu or Nakena. But it was a difficult game in that respect in terms of getting service into the box.
Charles Zulu found himself in a position to actually get balls into the box, though they were not very effective. As you've said, a right foot at the left wing. It's a struggling move there. That's why Charles Zulu wasn't actually impacting on the crosses.
Well, now the left wing could be a problem for Zanaco.
Too much.
But and I'm thinking what they have in terms of a left-footed player started on the bench is
Kevin.
Chitiam Susu, or maybe
Actually, Chiti has actually played in the wing mostly at NAPSA. So I think
Yes.
he's capable
of
filling
playing
up
there
that
and he
position.
give them natural.
Yeah, he's a player who can be in any position.
Yes.
You know, and some players, you would think because he's a left-footed, then he's comfortable to the left. There are some who are very good to the other side, but it depends with the game situation and the system. Because some players, you may put them to say, this is the position. When you lose the ball, you may come on the midfield. Maybe when we are attacking, you run into the wings. There are some players who may come in the midfield, they think they are comfortable, forgetting that he has to go back in the wings and create some spaces for his colleagues.
Now, let's just look at Zanaco in attack once more, because there's one salient point I probably want us to discuss and probably say. Now, if in that situation where you've got Musa making that run and Roger Kola having the principal responsibility of keeping the two central defenders, that's Mwape and Kalonda, busy, that run by Charles Zulu to cut inside for him to keep Silumba busy and probably even use the space in between the channel, it becomes counter what they are trying to do. Because in one breath, you are trying to expand the Zesco defense so that they're on touchline, but the movement of your wingers by virtue of trying to cut in,
inside.
and because Lawrence Chungu is not in advanced position so that Selimba and probably Chingandu must keep an eye on the blind side, it became a problem. Because now, without Chungu and Nakena getting to those advanced positions to actually fill the gap that is being left by Charles Zulu when he cuts in, and because of this, you even saw during the game, they tried to switch wings and positions a bit. And it didn't quite work because you need Chungu, who's not necessarily a youngster anymore, to do that up and down shift.
Yeah, because Zita, if you look at Charles Zulu is a player who can run to the wings, make a cross. Kola is there. I think they also want to use his height, like he can even score with a header. Anything can happen for players like Charles Zulu to go in the wings and make a cross. But for him, if you look at most of the times, he can try to go in the wings, then he will try to cut in where it's congested. And it's difficult for a winger to enjoy the game like that. Find that most of the times you lose your position. When you lose the ball, they get it again for you to recover. That's where you find that you are saying he may find himself in a wrong position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and it also brings salient issues when it comes to the transition and how you transition from attack to defense and vice versa. To that effect, let's just look at what Zesco United were doing in transition. Let's look at Zesco United transition attack, because one thing was for sure is that Zesco United managed to actually get at least 8 bodies behind the ball in their transition attack. And because of that, generally it was a bit of a problem for Zanaco to actually stop Zesco United and winning the ball higher up the pitch. Because you've made an investment of bodies and because of your wingers are trying to cut in. So they're already in foreign positions when you lose the ball.
I think that's where we should give Zesco the credit, because they actually kept their shape. Hence, Charles Zulu looking to shift position into the inside, into the midfield, and I think we give credit to Zesco.
Yeah, Zesco United.
Yeah,
disciplined performance in that
yes,
respect.
Yes, that game I think we should appreciate what Rwandamina did for his colleagues. I think even they had played in a charity shield and losing to Zanaco, and then you meet on the first day of the season. So it was not easy. I think they were organized. You look at the goalkeeper, the defense, and the midfield, the striking. I think it was an organized team. I think we salute them for even winning the game.
Okay, so it was definitely a not so good day at the office for Zanaco, but they conceded one goal. But let's look at the configuration in terms of Zanaco and what they were trying to do basically in attack and just try to see how they can splice the opponents. So here's the thing, and I want us to turn our attention to Tafadzo Rusike's role in all this. So you have a situation where Kelvin Kapumbu and Tafadzo Rusike actually dropped very deep, playing almost in the same line or very close to each other. But remember that dilemma. He was trying to elude the shirt number 8, Anthony Akumo. And Akumo sometimes would not track him and go down with him. And so because of that, he let him, go and get the ball. But now he's not tracked. But it creates something very strange in terms of something that helped Zanaco get the ball out from the back and move forward and bring Suleiman into the game. But of course, the problems they had in the final third were self-evident. So Tafadzo Rusike, the 21, gets the ball in the circle, but he's with Kapumbu there. And now it creates a marking dilemma for Enoch Sabumukama, who either has to pick up the number 15 or 21. And they've made a nice neat triangle with Suleiman, who comes short there. And there's that space adjacent to him, between Kamusuko and Anthony Akumo. So it created a bit of problems. But again, because they lacked width, Charles Zulu would be on the touchline, but once he gets the ball, the affinity was trying to cut inside, which was a populated area. Think about Charles Zulu getting the ball in those areas and trying to weave his way through past Mwape, Akumo, and Sulimba, who are playing on that side of the pitch. Ever so difficult. But just the final third, I think Zanaco will be pulling their hairs. It's because they actually found a way of seemingly getting into midfield, but how to bring Roger Kola and Suleimani into the box, big problem.
I think Coach Tumba actually has to do his homework there, because playing from the back, they were very good. They dominated play in the midfield, but the joining of supporting Kola in the attack, Suleiman has to work a bit harder to join in.
Let's look at now what Zesco's reaction was in transition. Once they win the ball back with the challenges that we are outlining that Zanaco had in terms of getting that plug forward and getting that bite. Let's just look at Zesco transition attack. Now, look, the attacking play was let Zanaco come, attack. But now, look at the Zesco attacking play and what they will do in transition is that get the ball wide, sack Zanaco to one side of the pitch, and try to get JJ Were on the left-hand side. And there were two problems here. It's either Jimmy Nakena would obey and balance the line correctly and leave JJ there and give him an opportunity to have a first touch. And it's because Gilles Manziba is high up the pitch. So he's unable to help Jimmy Nakena there. And it was a bit of a problem even for Rusike to race and outrun Jesse Were in those situations. He was caught offside a couple of times and one suspect offside. Unfair. Yeah, you call it unfair, but this tactic was working like a pitch for George Luandamina. He was getting his team in those situations, but again, he would not be too happy that they only got one goal.
If we see the battle of Were and Jimmy Akena, I think Were dominated that battle.
Now,
he won most of the challenges.
Man marking, was that the correct thing to do for Jimmy Nakena against Were?
No, I think that's where they had their problems with it, because if you look at Were is a player who is who moves. You find him to the right side,
Very
you
mobile.
find him to the left side. He will be in the middle. He will pretend like he's a midfielder, and most of his times he's a striker who wants to go forward. You've talked about the offsides. He had almost 3 to 4 times caught offside. I think he's a player who always wants to get a goal. And if you put him like you want to play man mark, I think you are destroying yourself.
I think if we look at the first 10 minutes, Jimmy Akena had 2 fouls, committed 2 fouls on Jesse Ware. Already that shows you the man marking.
And he got a yellow card.
And he got a yellow card, and it shows you he was not comfortable man marking Jesse Ware, because first of all he's smarter and faster.
Yeah, but and where it becomes awkward is when JJ begins to drift inside, begins to pull him in
Out of
positions that breaks the team shape and structure for Zanaco. But what should they have been taught? Because but for all intents and purposes, the next line of call is that we also need to discuss what Mr. Jili Manziba was doing in this game in respect of helping
In attack.
Jimmy Nakena. No, defensively.
I think if you look at both wingers, Charles Zulu and Manziba were not very active in defense, so I don't know what defensive structure they had.
So they needed to come back. But again, it comes back is that George Blandamino is always going to play with inverted wingers in JJ Were and John Chingandu. So
He did that in the child shoot.
we knew that the battle was always going to be in the central area. So the man marking, it was club risky business because more often than not, he was exposed, to say the least.
He was very exposed, and for most of the time, Lambert actually drifted wide to help Akene in most of the defensive duties.
Let's have a look at the Zesco United shot structure and just pencil down what they were able to do and what kind of areas they were able to find themselves in. Now, the bigger blue balls, those are the shots on target. And of course, the red ball in the 18 is the one that beat Tosta and Sabata. But generally, look at the activity in the right half space. 4 or 5 times, almost 6 times. Shots are being taken from there, Vespa. And it's because if you're Kapumbu, you prefer to be defending centrally. But you know, if you're being pulled left, right, because your teammates are not arriving in time or they're not coming with the attackers, it becomes a principal problem. But right there, again, it probably shows a big problem of Zesco being good at breaking the Zanaco lines. And if it wasn't for a man of the match performance by Tostan Savata, who saved all of them, you know, a couple of those, and those that went off target, could have been very, very embarrassing, Vespa.
Yeah, Zite, and if you've seen Zesco, most of their attacks, Zesco, when they get the ball, they play long balls. Of course, you've seen Jesse Were can hold on to the ball, Chingandu can hold on to the ball, and they join him. Their transition in attack, especially from the midfield, they would always want to play long balls for them to give space from the midfield, the defenders, and the strikers. And in this game, if you saw the way they were moving, they moved as a team. The midfielders would support the strikers, and you could see that whatever they are trying to do, it will come out. You know, they missed a lot of chances. Zanaco could have lost almost maybe four goals.
Yeah, it was a torrid time at the office. But the silver lining is that we saw some inspiring performance, especially in the attacking sense. Let's turn our attention to the tactical match play of Musa Suleiman and Tafadzo Rusike. The two players were actually a silver lining for Zanaco in that they always looked bright once they got into attacking positions. Now, they're creating tactical overloads in the half spaces, both on the left and on the right. And the illustration on the screen is that you see Tafadzo Rusike not really playing centrally. He's always peeling off to the left or to the right. And of course, it brought a bit of a dilemma about who principally picks him, because you start his run on the left and end it on the right. He would start on the right and end it on the left. And it was a bit of a problem for Anthony Akumu and Tabani Kamusoko in central midfield. But here was what was good. And maybe it took a bit of talking to keep Charles Zulu on the line or closer to the byline, so that it's possible for now Rusike to run into that half space. But when Musa comes there, they created a tactical overload. But again, getting beyond that, and you look at up your screen, Gilles Manziba should probably be drifting inside and getting a little bit more. And in that situation there, is that the biggest problem and the Achilles heel for Zanaco in this game was now getting Roger Kohler into the 18 so that he plays like a good old-fashioned number 9. Let him play maybe against Clement Mwape, who's maybe the weaker of the two players in aerial battles compared to Marcel Kalonda. But again, didn't happen. But this was the silver lining. But to cut that story up, let's just look at the short structure that Zanaco actually managed to conjure up in this game. Is that, look, the whole game, two times in the box, one by Okutu.
From set pieces
As well. And the other one was Zio Tembo. From a corner. They were both off target. And then you have 3 shots on target the whole game.
From Tafazo, yeah.
This was a good day at the office. Or maybe the statistics should comfort those of the Zanaco persuasion that, look, at least we're getting there. Maybe we'll get goals. Or was it as bad as we're trying to insinuate?
No, Zita, I think as looking at Zanaco being a big team and looking at the players which they have, I think they should change even the way they play, because it's a team which we are waiting for to play Continental. Some teams have played, and if you look at some of the Zambian players, the attitude also should at least change. You find that people will start talking about the coach, but this is just the first game. You know, sometimes the first games also they may be difficult to some players.
The game is a big game, but did the big game come too early? Both teams, or maybe Zanaco, are trying to get in the groove of things.
I feel having played the Child Shield, both coaches should have done the homework. We can see Coach Landamina did his homework.
And remember what George Landamina said. He said, "Look, as far as I'm concerned,
my team
pre-season we're just trying things here, and we'll treat it as pre-season." And that was the backdrop of them going to Eswatini and winning the tie.
And I think the results are showing. He had confidence in his team. There was some rumors saying he needs to buy more players and stuff. And he said, "No, I'm comfortable with my team." And I think the results are showing.
Well, for me, I would like to pay special tribute to the number 21. He used to be the man donning the number 8 shirt, Tafazo Rusike for Zanaco. Let's look at his statistics. And there's one line that I like, the one at the bottom. Interceptions. This was not synonymous to Tafazo Rusike's game. 5 interceptions, of course 0 goals, 2 shots off target, 2 shots on target, 3 off target, and he played the entire 90 minutes. And if Zanaco were ever going to get anything out of this game, it was through this man.
Yeah, Rusike is not known for his defensive attributes, but 5 interceptions is very impressive.
He's doing something
right.
But again, the argument could be it's again game approach. Is that Zanaco played this game differently. They played, and I don't know whether it was because of Zesco, but under different circumstances, Tafazo Rusike was the guy who was supposed to get the second ball when you hook it forward.
True.
So maybe they're now playing to his strength.
We would say maybe.
But is it sustainable?
It might be the add-on of the strengthening of the coaching staff as well. So maybe they're trying new formulas and everything.
Is this style here to stay?
We hope so.
Yeah, I hope so, but because looking at the way it's moving, I think
Because
that's the way
it's
they want
worked
it to
well
move.
for
Yeah, it
Kafato.
worked well. Yes, yes. I think they want to move on like the way they played. He's a very good player, Zite, and if you look at last season, I think he was one of their good players. I think even he was a captain for
most of the games.
Most of the games. So it means he's a player who can win the game. With the team.
But it was abundantly obvious, even before he came to Zanaco, is that he's a top player, very talented. But you probably need to play in a certain way.
I think I would like to see him.
Are
given a
we
free
bending towards playing a game that, because all of a sudden, even Kelvin Kapumbu looks stronger,
True.
solid. The partnership is there. And they're helping each other a little bit more. In different situations, you find there's a lot of fragmentations. Kelvin Kapumbu isolated, and Zanaco were there for the taking in transition.
I would like to see Zanaco try a 4-3-3 formation. 2 holding midfielders, defensive midfielders, and Rosike given a free role to
As a
manipulate. Yes, to manipulate the defense.
So not 2 strikers.
Not 2 strikers.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Then
think
it would be-
the coach is right. Yeah, because if you look at what they've been doing so far, it's not working. Because you put 2 strikers,
The one is forced to drop
the,
back.
Yeah, the other one who's dropping back, and even if the other one remains, the support there
Is
may
minimal.
be- yeah.
Yeah, it's because the Zanaco DNA is 2 strikers in the box, but Suleiman is coming into midfield. But maybe, gentlemen, let's not forget Zanaco were playing the champions. Hello, they're playing the champions, so probably explains the respect that Numba had, and he told Musa Suleiman, my friend, I need you to play like a 10. I need you to be the 3rd man in midfield.
Yeah, you know these players, Zite, sometimes, Zanaco, they played Zesco, they beat them, and you go and meet them again. Players will just say, we played with them.
Since we won.
We beat them in this same system, so we will go with the same system. And meeting a team like Zesco, you may go with the same system, but you find that they are also using a different system because of the
Yeah, because again, John Chingandu, you expect him to be in the number 10 role, then he's on the right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was our analysis of Zesco United's victory over Zanaco, which ended 1-0. It's time for us to take a short break. It's Zambia's premier analysis show. After the break, we discuss the results that were recorded over the weekend. And of course, the Green Eagles coach, who also cameos as Polo coach, was grabbing the headlines. Where is his allegiance? That's the multi-million-dollar question.
If we plant corn, we will reap corn. We reap the fruits of what we plant. How we treat others affects how others treat us. If we treat others bad, we can expect the same. The same holds true if we are kind and considerate. There's no way out of it. What goes around, comes around. To receive our daily devotional readings, write to us with WhatsApp at +1 787 248 7236.
おはよ
ご機嫌いかがでござるか。
With Minato, you can learn Japanese anytime, anywhere, for free. JF Japanese e-learning, Minato.
Hi there, my name is Daliso Emmanuel Chanda, but you can cut it down and call me Deck. Cool name, right? I know who's cool and who is not. Now let's bring down the house by telling you who is cool and who is not.
Boys and girls, let's walk in a straight line. Please don't touch anything.
Wow! Look at that snake and tiger!
How many animals do you know?
10 and 15.
I know too. Girls and boys, come and take your seat.
Yay, yay, yeah, la 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 la.
Quiet, children. We have a surprise for you. Meet Daliso Emmanuel Chanda. He is here to talk to us about cannabis.
Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Daliso Emmanuel Chanda, but you can call me Dek. We are going to talk about drugs today. What drugs do you know?
Me, teacher, me. Weed and alcohol.
That is correct. Very good. Today we're going to talk about cannabis, commonly known as weed, marijuana, or dagga. Does anyone know how it looks like?
It has the color green and is smoked when it's dry.
That's correct. Cannabis is harmful and can cause a lot of damage to the human brain. Smoking weed can make someone forget things, insomnia, sore throat, and cancer of the lungs. One can even forget where they stay. When one smokes marijuana, they can feel dizzy.
Is it true that marijuana can distract your senses and make you hear things, strange things?
That's correct. Remember, keep away from marijuana because it's not cool to smoke. Be cool. Don't do drugs.
Welcome back. Zambia's Premier Analysis show is the drill from 1198 at the Suburban Drive in Rhodes Park. Let's talk about Agre Chiangi, shall we? Of course, his team managed to pick up a point over the weekend, a maiden point. Of course, they finished runners-up last year. But let's discuss him as senior Chipolo Polo gaffer. Now, he's standing coach, as you may be aware, and there's a screaming headline talking about Agre Chiangi. Let's have a look at it. Now, according to Benedict Tembo of the Zambia Daily Mail, yeah, we can read that. Chiangi not king on Chipolo Polo. Caretaker has a running contract with Green Eagles. We need a new coach, gentlemen. He's just helping. He's just made it abundantly clear.
Yeah, I think Zite is helping us as a caretaker. And you know, when you are taking up a job of a head coach for the national team, I think it's not easy. And he's got a team which they also want results. From Choma there also, they are waiting for his results. How is his performance in the Continental? And coming back again to the national team, they also want results. You know, supporters are the owners of the teams, and they want results. And looking at his position where he is, I think if he's ready to take up that job as a national team coach, if he wants it. Maybe.
Yeah, because, okay, let's face the fact is, the hard fact is, and everyone from Choma and Green Eagles and ZNS, one thing is for sure, is that he's a free man of Choma. I don't know if the Choma Council have said that, but he's a free man of Choma. It's because he's made Choma Green Eagles play continental football for the first time. They have slayed the Orlando Pirates. They are now all of a sudden fighting for position 1 and 2 in our league. And I'm sure when Agre Chiangi even sneezes, someone is there, yes sir, anything, what can you do? Any ball, you want green balls? We bring green balls. You want blue balls? We give you blue balls. Like everything probably he wants, Green Eagles are providing to him. And it brings the proverbial debate, Stafford, is that the local coach, when they come, they're not treated right at the national team.
You know,
maybe he's made up his mind. And this thing has been on the cards for a while.
I think his decision to pay more attention to Green Eagles is actually a good move because he's built that team. And you know,
yeah,
Green Eagles are now a big team to reckon with.
So, last week we're supposed to have a new coach. Yeah, Jeluzic, Vaseline Jeluzic. But we're even exchanging notes with the communications manager, Football House, Mwazi Chanda. You're saying that, okay, they are re-advertising, the coach will be coming. But that coach could be flying straight to Algiers or Blida. It's because not in under 60 days we're going to be playing Algeria in our first AFCON qualifier for 2021.
And now that's the tricky part. Are we going to allow a new coach to take on the national team at this point?
But he has to.
And are we going to accept with the results, whatever results they might be?
Vespa. It's because, look, he's coming here to win. You see, the first president in the 2019 qualifiers was saying that qualifying for AFCON is not negotiable. And yes, Sven is gone because it was not negotiable. Yes. And now the next one coming, after missing 2 AFCONs, he needs to take us to the promised land.
Yeah, it's very tricky, Zite. Zambians are waiting for the national team to qualify. They watch them in the World Cup, they watch them at the Africa Cup. So it's very difficult. Even the coach who is coming into Zambia, Zite, it's not about money, but it's about the work itself. What is it going to change?
Is it a hard job?
Yeah, it is. It's not an easy job, Zite. Looking at the performance also of our Zambian players, it also comes back to a question of how are our Zambian players ready. Are we talking about players whom we can bring a coach? If Lampard comes here, you say, okay, this is our team, and then we are ready, we'll go to the Africa Cup or the World Cup.
But if we even look around Africa, we can see that most countries have actually decided to stay with the local coach at the national team. And I think that's an advantage because then he gets to understand the playing style of the country. He gets to watch more games in the league. He gets to, it gives him a brighter view of the game.
Yeah, but again, the question will be that when he comes, he will need to stamp his authority, including his philosophy and playing style.
Exactly.
But in under 3 months, yes. So this is one window, okay, for the international break. And it's because the under 23 are playing. Under normal circumstances, we're hoping that the substantive coach of the Chipolo Polo would be around because like the likes of Emmanuel Banda, Enoch Mwepu, Patson Daka, Fashion Sakala are here and he's gone. He can be intimate with them in terms of what he wants them to do.
Yeah, Zita, you may talk about Mwepu, Fashion, and some of these young players. It comes back again to say, what are they doing where they are? Are they performing well?
Are they playing?
Are they playing? And then the coach will come in, will tell him that, okay, we watched these players in the under 20. They performed very well, and then they are professionals. But the question is, are they playing? Are they, we can't just be calling names to say, okay, we have these players, then we call them to the national team. But what are they showing to their supporters? Are they paying back to say, this is why I was picked to the national team, I'm now a professional? Because when you are called to the national team, I think you should show that this is why I'm here.
Yeah, but the argument would be, and for the players who could be watching this show right now, could actually say, yes, we do want to play, we love the country, but yeah, we also follow instructions made by the coach.
That's why, in my view, I think first we just give Chenge a good contract. That's all.
They must try to prize him away from the Zambia National Service sponsored.
That's the
Green
best option.
Eagles.
I think he's proved to be a very good coach. He can carry on the national team.
But will he be given the respect?
I think he's earned it.
He's been on this road before.
That's why
because we've gone to the moon and back, verifying local coaches. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that's why
will he be given the respect and the patience the job deserves?
That's why we've missed it, Zita. If you've seen Zambia, if we talk about the local coaches, do we respect them? And have you seen a Zambian local coach, our local coaches, given a chance to say, okay, we've given you this job, and then maybe
we'll support you.
Yeah, we'll support, and maybe you choose your own people to work with, you see. So given that chance, I think if one of our local coaches can be given that chance to say, okay, choose your own people to work with, you may find he will choose the best coaches here in Zambia. They work together. Maybe results can come.
So let me ask this. So the difference between us qualifying for the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations and not qualifying, does it lie in who we bring as coach? Or there are many other factors that we must
I think that would be
switch on to?
That's the first step. The selection of a coach. Are we going to select somebody who knows the players already? Are we picking somebody who's starting from scratch?
But how
And
many?
if we're picking somebody who's starting from scratch, then let's cancel out qualifying.
But what are the chances that we're not starting from scratch?
If we're not starting from scratch, that's why I'm saying give Cheng the contract.
Yeah.
Give him a chance. Give
if
him a
we are
one. Give him.
rebuilding, then let's bring in a
Yeah, because
new
we are
coach and
COSAFA
cast-
champions.
Yeah.
The same COSAFA team is representing us for Chan.
Yes.
So how do we?
No, the best is giving him a contract.
Yeah, I think
Give him a chance.
We give him a chance because we've seen him, what he has done. and
But he
what
has
he's
to
doing.
apply. You can't say give him.
No, but
The minister of sports was saying that look, procedure regards
No, but-
wrestling Yelusic was not followed, so we need to advertise this thing, and it looks like that's the part. Now, if you're saying you're advertising, will Agri Chiangi be pulling out his CV and taking it to Football House? With that answer that you saw on the screen.
I think that's also maybe him giving out a statement to say, I've got a contract, give me a contract, and
That would be headhunting. That would be headhunting, gentlemen.
Yeah. But for me, Zite, I think what we should do as Zambians, let's pick a coach who's going to respect his supporters, is going to respect the game itself.
The Zambian football, yes.
Yes, so that we get good results.
Respecting Zambian football means winning.
Yes,
Yes,
That's
yes,
what we call it.
yes.
That's what
Just for the record, respecting Zambian football means winning, and it's not the easiest thing to do, especially in the circumstance. Is that COSAFA team? How many cogs from that COSAFA team that won
Can progress.
are ready to progress to the senior national team? How many players from the Chan team that is playing are ready to play at the higher level? Will the synergy between the Bola Nalesa boys, under 23 and the like, be the magic tonic that we require? Talking about Bola Nalesa, there were men from Portno, Congo, Brazzaville, coming to town to play Zambia. The prize is qualifying for the under 23 African Championship en route to the Olympic Games. Now, gentlemen, this is a big game. It was postponed. Yeah, we had a little bit of time, but we can confirm that Patson Daka, Emmanuel Banda,
Mwepo, yeah.
Fashion Sakala, Enoch Mwepo are in and are ready for battle. Venkana coach Beston Chambeshi, who won 2-0 over the weekend thanks to Idris Mbombo goals, is the man in charge.
And you see, so already here, we should have somebody looking at this team to say, oh, who can I pick to go to progress to the main team?
But you see, with under 2 months to that date with Algeria, seemingly don't know who's going to be doing that. We can't even bank on the fact that it will be Agri Chang.
With that statement, I doubt it.
Yeah, we'll talk about the coach, but sometimes we should also not forget about our team. We've talked about the players themselves, the behavior of the players. We should not forget that we also have a problem from the keeper himself. Do we have goalkeepers who can take us to the Africa Cup, to the World Cup?
And at the weekend, we're playing South Africa. Agri Chang is in charge. That's the good news.
Who takes over Mwini's position?
Yeah, you've got Mwange. You can look at Lawrence.
Are they...
Gentlemen, say something. Stop choking.
Yeah.
Stop choking. Speak.
Already here, we're looking at just the first person we're picking is a goalkeeper who's ready to step up. The game on Wednesday was the first step to see the keeper.
Whether the under 23 keeper could be Polo proper keeper.
Yes.
This is a busy week, gentlemen.
Hectic week.
Yeah, and the people are waiting for the new coach. They're also waiting for results for the under 23 to see if they can be the players who can play to the.
Let's talk predictions, shall we? Let's start off with Wednesday. Under 23, Bolanales are back to the stage where, well, their biggest moments in their careers. Under 20 champions.
I'm seeing a 3-1. Zambia winning 3-1.
Vespa?
Yeah, 4-0.
4-0?
Yeah, we are winning 4-0 Zite.
May your words come true.
Yeah, because I'm saying so, Zite, I think I've been watching them playing friendly games. From last week, I think they've been winning 16-0, 10-0, 12-0. I think when was that? Sunday, they played a team which they beat 10-0. So I'm looking at the goals which they are scoring. I think they may come to 4-0.
But you know all too well these are select sides. Should we read so much into?
The reason of such friend is it's the building of confidence, building of game structure. So, as the coach has said, 10-0.
We have goals in
so the confidence, yes.
Yeah.
And once strikers are scoring so many goals, we expect them to score 2-3 goals in the.
Yes.
What should be the tone in the Bafana game? Try to treat it as a competitive match, or try everyone, give everybody a run out. What would be your feel?
Need to give everyone a chance, because football Zita has got no leakage to say no, we'll hide these players here.
And they'll perform.
So each one has to be seen that this is why I was called to the national team. My performance can be like this. I can be scoring in each game. And I think what we want for the young lads, I think, is to be scoring so that it's easy. If you score, it's easy for you to win the game.
Let's talk about one of the matches. Let's just recap on some of the matches that were played over the weekend. Let's start off with where you were, in Koloma Stadium. Red Arrows, how do they look this year?
Yeah, they look to be organized. It's a team, I think, which wants to be at least maybe, because if you look at where they ended up, they were almost into playing continental. And I think like the way they've started this season, and I was very impressed to see each and every player to be involved in all the departments, I think, which makes it easy for the coach even to play the next game and to choose who is going to be in the team.
What about the men from Mazabuka?
Yeah, there are difficulties, of course, yes, being the first game in Lusaka Zite and playing at Nkoloma Stadium where Red Arrows will not give you a chance, of course, looking at the way they are this year. I think they want to be somewhere. It was not an easy game for the Sugar guys. I think even them, they need to pull up. There are chances, of course, which they also thought maybe they will catch up after getting a goal, but it was not easy for them. Red Arrows became very strong in the midfield and the defense.
I'm just thinking that this year, Stafford, we are going to have a lot of slayings in Kansanshi.
We can already, that has already started. We can
One has started, and without supporters, by the way. Power Dynamos can attest to the chilling effect of how cold defeat can feel.
It's actually, it was one of the shocking results if not the biggest shock of the weekend.
Could it be the point we start immediately getting worried about Power Dynamos, looking at the way they've been playing the last 3-4 seasons? Could the Power Dynamos supporter be actually saying, oh no, here we go again? Yes, big man Fortson Kabole is back, but yeah, SOS, same old story.
I'm thinking that game was also mentally, it was a mental defeat for Power Dynamos, because obviously they assumed, no, this is a walkover. And that's a very critical part of players. They walk into a game saying, no, this is against Zesco, let's pull up our socks. This is Kansensia, we've won this game.
Larry Wale was deployed on the right-hand side.
Experimental.
Because I was also inquisitive about that one, especially because you remember how Fortson Kabale's Power Dynamos were killing everybody with Mkukamlenga. And then, yeah, the temptation to think Larry Wale and Mkukamlenga in a similar mode is very high. But from the report card that I've gotten is that he was played on the right, free row. He was trying to come inside, and Jimmy Zingai played right back, and Kasai Dynamos just put pace against him, and it was a very tough day at the office.
Yeah,
but
and
which also brings the question is that where should Fortson Kabole place Larivali? Because that's one big issue on its own.
yeah, Zite, you know, some teams like Power Dynamos, sometimes you win the game on paper before you even play the game. If you look at the Orlando Pirates, you hear the interview for our coach. He said they won the game before we played. You know, on paper they were, hey, what, we are going to beat them so much margin. So when it comes back to Power Dynamos, look at, if you check who scored Power Dynamos, it's their former player. He's the one who scored on that day. And if you look at
Isaac Ngoma.
Yeah, he's the one who scored them. He's their former player.
And former of Green Eagles.
Yes,
he's on loan
yes.
from Green Eagles.
Yeah,
actually.
he's a loan. Or he's on loan. But what I'm trying to say is the players, when they are approaching a game, I think they should not take it like he has said it, that they take it that we've already won this game. You know, and looking at the team we are playing with, maybe it is because it is coming from a lower division.
I was asking one fundamental question. Larry, where do we play him and in what system?
I think it's better off coming from the central midfield.
That thing in the wing, that suggestion.
Yeah, anyway, he has been moved in several positions.
Yes.
I don't know whether they are trying to find a position for him, but for me, I've watched him. He's an attacking midfielder. Because he can, when he attacks, you find that sometimes he scores, he's getting goals. He's very good on that one. And if you put him in the wings, I think he's got a lot of problems because of his body and you know.
And his type of play doesn't.
It doesn't allow him to.
Again, like a Tafazo Rusiki kind of player.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
and
seemingly need to build your thinking around them.
him, yes.
Because
he's not a body
once the
contact
ball
player.
comes to him, he seemingly changes what it should be.
Yes.
And it influences who he should be playing with.
Yes.
Tough day at the office. Danny Silavwe was on the score sheet for NAPSA Stars. They won 2-0 in Mfurila. And yeah, we heard of players going on strike before the season started, and now the season has started. Play time is over. They can't be bickering. The season is on and it's going to be flowing. But maybe they'll be happy that this weekend there'll be the international break.
Yeah, but for me, I don't think I can be happy. Looking at, you know, you started well with a win, and then you go on a break. Some of our players, they are difficult players to handle. You know, yes, going to Mfulira Wanderers, it's not an easy win from Mfulira.
Yeah.
You know how Minambe boys they are there. You will not come out with a win. But I think for NAPSA Stars, we give them a credit because it's not an easy place to come out with a victory.
Gents, thank you. We'll be back on Friday with Friday Night Football. Make sure you make a date, 20 hours. Until then, enjoy the rest of the week and the games on Wednesday. We'll bring you match review of South Africa versus Zambia and the under-23s battle with the men from Port North. That's Congo Brazzaville.